Hi, this is Jacqueline. I'm back with my next video. I know it's been a very long time since I've done a video. And truthfully, that's because I don't really have a lot to update personally, and I haven't really heard of any new treatments. I know there are a lot of clinical trials going on, but I haven't really heard of any new concrete beneficial treatments to really share with you guys. If anyone knows of any new treatments, anything that you're doing that's helping that has not been something we've covered on the channel, please leave a comment below. So the first thing I did want to discuss was MABs. I used to be able to get MABs pretty easily when I lived in Los Angeles and then living in the Las Vegas area. There were the concierge services, and then I did have a doctor that I originally got MABs from. But when I was just looking around to see if they were available, I couldn't find them anywhere. And these are the other MABs that were used for if you test positive for COVID, you could call and get the monoclonals for the acute infection. But they were helping people with long COVID. And as you guys know, MABs was really an integral part of my recovery, especially initially. So I couldn't find the regular MABs. Now there is a new MAB out called Pemgarda, and it is more of a preventative MAB. Pemgarda is a MAB that is for pre-exposure to COVID, and it is to target the spike protein. Now, when I went on the Pemgarda website, you can look and find an infusion center. I was able to find a few in my area. You just put in your zip code and it'll show you the closest infusion centers to where you're located. However, I really do not know the criteria. I mean, they have a list of criteria, but I don't know how strict they are with that criteria. I don't know if people who've had long COVID could potentially qualify for Pemgarda. I don't know anyone that's had it. So if you've had Pemgarda or you know anyone that's had it and their experience, I would love to know, and please share in the comments below, because I really would like to know about this MAB, side effects, if it's helping people, if it's helping with long COVID. The general use of it is for pre-exposure, for people who can't take the vaccine. Preventative, is it preventing it? I don't really have enough information on it. And with all the other MABs, I did all the other MABs personally, so I could report my own experience. But with Pemgarda, again, I don't know anyone that's done it. So please, if you've done it or you know anyone, I would really like to know how that's working out for people. And is this a potential for people with long COVID to prevent reinfection or to potentially help with long COVID infections? Okay, so that's that. So the next thing is that, of course, we heard over the summer that Flirt variant was just out there running rampant. I do not know how every variation of COVID is more and more transmissible. Like, how can it be any more transmissible? It's like this one's the most transmissible one, and then the next one's the most transmissible. But apparently it was really surging this past summer. Now, I did get sick at the beginning of August. I do tend to think that I was reinfected with COVID. I do not think the home tests are very reliable. I think you have to take them within a really short period of time for you to test positive on them. However, I know a lot of people were testing positive on them because, when I would go in the Facebook groups or go on X, people were getting positive tests, sometimes for days at a time. So I don't know. I personally did not test positive. I felt like I had COVID-like symptoms, especially when it came to that distorted taste, which is kind of like the telltale sign of COVID. I did contact my naturopath, and I just was like, what are things that you are recommending for acute infections at this point? So I just wanted to go over the things that she recommended for me to do, even though, again, I did not have a confirmation test. So this is a little speculative if I had it. And I think that's just kind of becoming the way that COVID is now. I personally don't know that people are testing for it. In my personal life anyway, I don't know anyone that's testing for COVID. Maybe that's not totally fair. I know a few people, but they test negative, but they still think that they might had it. So again, the reliability of the tests, I don't know what to make of that. But if you go online, you do see that, that people are still getting COVID. Obviously, it's still circulating. I don't think we know to what degree really with an accurate test and people not testing. So anyway, I just kind of want to go over her recommendations. So the first thing that she recommended for me was to come in and have a Myers cocktail, which is basically an IV of different vitamins, and to have extra vitamin C and a glutathione push. Next, for supplements, again, glutathione, vitamin C, and vitamin E. And she said there's a synergy between those three supplements that are really good for helping rid your body of the spike protein and also to protect your cells. Also, NAC, bioflavonoids, phosphatidylcholine pushes, and the nutrients for mitochondria are NAD. And she also recommended methylene blue. Now, I took methylene blue before in the past and I was so nauseous. I literally fell over. Like, I don't want to take it. And it was brought to me that maybe I was just recommended too high of a dosage. I don't know. I did not have a good experience with methylene blue, so I personally wouldn't take it again. That is something that she did recommend, and I have heard recommended by other practitioners. Next is CoQ10, and also she recommended IV ozone coupled with NAD through IV. So those were the main things that she thought would help for an acute infection. She's been seeing more patients with acute COVID and long COVID. I just wanted to share those things with you. Those weren't necessarily things that I was doing together, but things that I have definitely, supplements I've definitely heard of, and I'm sure you guys have too. I also did the intermittent fasting for about 4 days, and I did extended sauna sessions to really hopefully sweat it out and detox my body. That's what I took for my last, I think, acute infection. Again, I don't have a confirmation test, but I think that's probably how it's going to be in the future, is that people are just going to continue to get it and just sort of guess whether they have it or not if the tests aren't reliable, or just not even test at all and just treat symptoms. I think it's very difficult for people that have had the trauma and experience of long COVID to not really know if you have it. It is nice for me personally. I like to have a confirmation test. I like to be able to tell my doctor this is what I have, and even get the option to take Paxlovid or other prescription medication. And I think it's unfortunately going to be a battle that people that have had these experiences are just going to have to deal with. I was hoping that COVID would really become so much less virulent, that the long-term effects and the symptoms would be super mild. And I must say that what I had was very mild. But I was aware that I was feeling off, and I would say that my main symptoms were GI again, where just felt like I had a stomach ache. I was going to the bathroom a little bit more, and then I had the taste, and that was sort of, again, for me, that telltale sign that it was most likely COVID. After that, a few weeks later, I actually got pretty sick, and it ended up being just a common cold. I did test positive for rhinovirus, and I was really sick with a cold. Now, I mean, I suspect that maybe my immune system was just kind of crashed from having had COVID, that maybe the cold hit me a lot harder. Again, I'm just speculating, but I wanted to share those things with you guys. Again, I am interested in Pemgarda. I wanted to share the supplements that my naturopath recommended for acute COVID, and just kind of to touch base because it's been a while. I will definitely keep you guys updated with John. John is doing Dupixent, which is also a monoclonal antibody. It is not targeted toward COVID, but it is a mAb, and hopefully as he continues to take these treatments, they told him it would take a little while before he noticed benefits. I would love to have him on again and share his experience with that. And again, if you've had anything that's worked or any treatments, please leave me a comment. And I do tend to start doing shorts, so I'm not the most tech savvy person, but I do want to start connecting with you guys more and kind of going on this journey together, even as I got sick, had the acute infection, have a cold, things like that, to still stay in contact with you guys. I hope all is well. I hope you guys are finding some relief of your symptoms and treatments that are helpful, and hopefully one day this will be behind all of us. Until then, please stay well and peace.
Please like and subscribe.